Hi everyone, it's 8:15 on a Thursday night. It's time for GG Gaming Gone Mad. If you're new to betting, well, there's the address, www.gggaming.bet. Log on and open an account. Good to have you with you for the sports betting preview. We're going to be previewing some of the sport happening from tomorrow, Friday, right through until Sunday. And we'll be talking about Super Rugby, Six Nations, English Premier League, and of course, we've got some T20 cricket starting as well. Let me introduce, though, without further ado, Gary Lentin. Gary, good to have you back on the show.
Brent, it's always good to be on, my mate, and I believe you were the one that was under pressure to get there today. Get onto the show on time. I was cruising. I left the office around about 5:30. I had time to stop downstairs for a coffee, so I'm all nice and relaxed. But I mean, you don't look that stressed. So I think if we could all look like you when we were stressed out, we'd be a lot happier.
That's it. Yes, I had a bit of a lunch today that was a business lunch that went on a little bit longer than planned. So it was a little bit of a rush. But yeah, pleased to have made it, and got the fan blowing on me. It's been really hot here in Johannesburg this week as well. So, but looking forward to it. You know, it's a good weekend of sports betting. And I'd actually slipped my mind that the cricket actually starts tomorrow against Australia. That sort of snuck up on me. Do you know how many matches in the series, Gary?
Yeah. I believe there's I think there are 3 T20s and 3 50 overs. I'm not sure. There's a T20 tomorrow. Jesus. There's definitely a 50 over game in Potch on the 7th of March because we're involved in sponsoring it. I would guess there's 3. I don't know why that comes to mind. Hello, Brendan. Hello, boys. What's happening there, guys? But yeah, I've got a feel. I'm sure there are people that would know more than me, but I think there are 3 T20s and 3 one-days.
Right. So we're looking forward to that. It should be competitive. And let's start with a look at that. I'm just going to pop across to your website quickly, which, I'm surprised you're hearing me clearly because my Wi-Fi hasn't been great. Everything's a little bit slow. But looking at the betting on this, you've got South Africa trading at 1.34 to 1 and Australia just under 6 to 10. So the Aussies obviously coming in here as favourites.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. Can I just tell this guy, sorry, I'm doing...
No problem. Just while you're doing that, Gary, just to welcome all the guys in the live chat. Yes, we saw Brendan O'Connell. He's one of the guys watching on Facebook now. The majority of the guys will obviously be on YouTube. Emil and Ruan Fari. Ruan, I know you stay in the same area as me. Hopefully you can avoid load shedding for the show. I know one of our guests on the 9 o'clock show is probably going to be out because of load shedding. But we had ours earlier, so I think we're okay.
You know, the truth is, I mean, just to touch on the load shedding. I mean, the fact is, you know, I was just on News 24 earlier today, and I saw some of the things that they focused on, right? The main thing that our president is focusing on now, I'm not saying whether it's important or unimportant. I mean, that not for 1 second. I'm not even going to get dragged into that, right? This whole FW de Klerk thing. But how they move the focus away from these crucial things that are happening in our country, Brent. I mean, like I said, load shedding should be something that happens once every 6 months, and when it does, it should be a catastrophe, and everybody should throw their arms up and go mad. You know what I mean? But now we just accept it, and the truth is, we're accepting something that's unacceptable, and that's unfortunately the truth. But right, let's head back onto the cricket here. I think that you take too much of a chance to take 6 to 10 any team in a T20 when you haven't seen the conditions and you haven't seen the two teams play against each other. So I'm going to suggest people that don't want to get in back South Africa, leave Australia alone tomorrow night. It's going to be a great game to watch. You can get enough entertainment without having to have a bet on the game. So I'm going to say, let's leave this one alone, Brett. I think, you know what I mean, there are going to be positions during the series. Obviously, there's live in-play betting and everything. So no need to rush into this one. I sincerely, my advice is enjoy the game tomorrow and let's look if we can find a better spot after we've seen 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, and of course, just to guys who maybe want to get involved, but like you don't really see any value in the outright winner market, you can always have a let's call it a more speculative play on one of the exotic markets. I mean, I see top home batsmen here. You've got Quentin de Kock 2 to 1, Faf du Plessis 7 to 2, Van der Dussen 7 to 2, 9 to 2, John Smuts. So those are the sort of bets that punters can get involved in, and I think that's the beauty of sports betting, Gary. You don't necessarily have to bet on the result. There's always an angle for you if you want to get involved.
Definitely, and you know you can wait to see a little bit, and and at those prices you can back 2 guys, Brent. You can go with your you know what I mean, with your Quinton if you want to, and maybe save on, you know what I mean, John, whatever it is. You don't have to get involved in a 6 to 10 shot. So I quite like that. I think that's a good way to do it on overs, unders on the first innings runs. That's always exciting. You've always got a chance. There's a game now that we were betting on live. I mean, I've never heard of the Islamic Bud something. You know what I'm saying? And you know, a lot of people, I thought something wasn't right. About 6 or 7 punters all went long. with us. All went over the 170 odd, over the 173 mark. It was, I mean, smallish, not big bets and everything, but they were cruising. They were really heading for 200. The run market got to 200 at one stage, but then they lost a lot of wickets, and they lost 5 wickets in the last sort of 3 overs and finished on 168. So you've always, I'm just illustrating that you've always got a chance with these things. And I think that I agree with you. Look for a market tomorrow that's a little bit of fun and entertainment, and let's not get too involved in the first game. There are better spots this weekend, and there'll be better spots in the cricket as well. There's no doubt about that.
Excellent. Well, welcome to one of my American mates who I see is coming on Facebook, Kevin Spector, watching from the States. Kevin, come live in a country where they play some real sport, mate, and bet on the cricket and the rugby again. But, Gary, I'm with you there. The one thing I will say about T20 cricket, it really appeals to your guy. I think it appeals to a similar thing like a sevens rugby punter. Guys who love the sort of fluctuations and that, because you can watch a game of T20 cricket and a team can go into an over as a 6-10 favorite and come out as a 3-1 underdog, depending on what happens. I mean, that's the sort of fluctuations you get in T20. Definitely,
but I think there's a lot more skill and a lot more consistency in a T20 game than a seven-man rugby game. You know what I'm saying? Because the fact is that it's still 20 overs, Brent, and a lot can happen. Teams get bowled out in 20 overs often. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in sevens rugby, it's over in 15 minutes, you know what I mean? It's a little bit quick, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I just think that there's a lot more skill. Having said that, you know what I mean? There are a lot of really clever punters in sevens rugby, a lot of them that make a lot of money, you know what I mean? Where you can get on, you know what I'm saying? It's not that easy, you know what I'm saying, to get on in there. But the T20s, I think there's a hell of a lot of skill involved in punting the T20s, not in finding the winners, but finding the games where there's less of a swing, you know what I'm saying, Brent? Because I think that every 6 to 10 shot looks like it should be a 6 to 10 shot when it starts, right? Because obviously they're the better side, they got a better record. But if you back every 6 to 10 shot, I promise you'll lose your money in T20, right? So the skill factor comes into saying, right, identifying the ones that are 6 to 10 that should be 3 to 10. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Because that's where the skill comes in. Everything's about price, right? If you take 6 to 10, something that's a 6 to 10 shot, you're never going to make a profit, right? You need to be taking the 6 to 10 shots that are genuine 3 to 10 shots. That's the way it works if you want to take odds on shots. It's the same thing. People say don't punt if they're too short, but if you can get yourself 1 to 3, something that's a 1 to 10 shot, you'll make money in the long run. Definitely, you know what I mean? So it's all about the value and the real price should be. And I think that tomorrow's game, the betting is right. I think Australia 6 to 10 shot, SA a 7 to 10 shot. And you know what I'm saying? I agree with Nick. It will be interesting. Look, I think that we're going to come out. They always tend, in my opinion, in T20s, they always come out a little bit low. I think that in T20s, because generally what happens, well, not generally, at the end of the day, they field restrictions for the first 6 overs. There's nothing you can do. You have no protection. And they come out at 170, between about 175 to 180 is generally where they come out. And after 6 overs, most teams are hovering at about 55 to 65, right? Automatically, then it moves up to 190. They don't always get the 190, but at that stage, you could go and sell out your position and give yourself a decent middle. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Because quite often the ball gets older, the fielders go out, and it becomes a lot more difficult to score runs later on. I would say from a trading perspective, if you were always a buyer of runs before the game starts and a seller after 6 or 7 overs, I'll say more often than not, you'll give yourself a positive middle. Well, excellent. I'll be watching that strategy going forward on some of the T20s to see how it works. And then, Gary, of course, there's loads of rugby this weekend, and we'll get into those games now. We've got 6 games. We've had 7 the last few weekends. And let me bring up the first game. Crusaders, that's the handicap there, minus 15.5 against the Highlanders, plus 15.5. The money obviously coming for the Crusaders there on the minus. They're 7 to 10, and the Highlanders 11 to 10. What are your thoughts on this one? I think that the whole week, if I have to be critical of our betting, right, I think we came out a little bit low on most of our handicaps early on Sunday. And we battled to catch up with the market, Brent. So I think we're a little bit shy on most of our markets, which I blame solely on David, because I was higher than him on every single one. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're shy on every single market, to be perfectly honest, including this one. 15.5 is a lot of points. 7 to 10 is not hell of attractive on that type of start. But having said that, if you go back in history, you'll see that the Crusaders, besides the great record that they've got at home, they have a particularly good record against the Highlanders at home. I think they've hammered them by more than 20 points in the last few times that they've been there. I believe there's some type of, not a charity day, some type of nostalgic day where they're bringing back ex-Crusaders to line up the field and let the guys run through that tunnel. So they're going to have everything to play for, the Crusaders. They bounced back nicely last week, exactly as we predicted. For my money, I think the Crusaders, even at 7-10, at 15.5, are touching a punt. Brent, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually did the preview, was it last night or early this morning for good for the game, and that's exactly where I came in at the minus 15.5. There was 9-10 available at the time, and I went and also looked a little bit at the history. Yes, you're right. The last 3 games have been over 20 points. Even the game before that was 17 points where they played, where the Crusaders have played at home. But I also just haven't been impressed by the Highlanders. Although I must point out that I didn't watch them beat the Brumbies. I know they won in the last minute, but overall, I just think the Crusaders are going to be too strong. I think the Crusaders are going to probably win this one fairly comfortably. I'm on the minus 15.5 there, Gary.
If you force me to do anything, it would be minus 15. I'm not saying it's my best bet of the weekend. It isn't, but it would be something that I'd be scratching on tomorrow to get going,
There's just Kevin in America saying Major League Rugby has just started there, and he's hoping it'll take off. And I must say, I'm hearing more and more about rugby in America. I know quite a few South African guys have gone over on scholarships and that there. And I think we're going to see the game. I mean, they already play a good game of sevens. I think we're going to see the game take off in the States. And that can only be good for us punters and more opportunities to bet.
All it really needs is somebody to put money behind it, Brent. At the end of the day, they got the athletes. There's no doubt about that. And they've probably got enough expats, South Africans and Englishmen and, whatever, Argentinians and everybody living there that, there's probably a culture there. I mean, yes, it would be tiny if you look at the big picture because there's 350 million running around, right? But, if somebody really went and put big money behind it, I think that America could be a force in rugby certainly during our lifetime, I'm talking about a major force, a team that comes into the World Cup, fancy to win it. So, it is interesting, and they will go there. I mean, a few South Africans have been there. I don't know what they do there. Isn't Gary Gold there? I think Gary Gold's there. I think Andre Snyman was there. So, and these are quality coaches and rugby players. So, it won't be long before they start flexing their muscles. You know what I'm saying? And all it takes is 1 or 2 guys that don't quite cut it at American football and think, well, instead of battling and not getting any exercise, let me move over to rugby and see how that goes,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch the progress of the game there. Gary, do you want to go do a comp on this first game?
I definitely do want to do a comp on this game. We're going to do one on every game. Also, Brent, let's just start off early and tell everybody that next week we're going to come out on Monday afternoon on Good for the Game, right? There's going to be what our competition is for Thursday night, right? There's going to be a pick 6 where you're going to have to bet on 6 or 7 games. You know what I mean? It may be a pick 7. Let's see what the fixture list has got next week. I haven't seen it yet. The other thing is I just want to state, one of the guys won a prize last week, and he hadn't bet the money that he won with GG Gaming.
Yes.
And I believe that they never paid him today, whatever it is, as per the terms and conditions. It wouldn't allow him his free bet. It's small money, but we have to stick to the rules, Brent. I don't know much about it. I just heard it when I was walking out the office. But we are going to stick to the rules. Yes, we want to give away money and we want to create goodwill. But if we start breaking rules, then it has to stop somewhere. The line has to be drawn in the sand. You know what I mean? So just, guys, get your money and have your bets and everything. Next week, there's going to be a pick 6 or a pick 7 where the first prize is going to be 100,000 Rand. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute punt 100,000 Rand, but I am suggesting have a few bets this week if you want to be eligible for all of that. Right.
Yeah, just to mention to the guys, there's a link on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, in the description box, there's a link. Click on that and you can go and see the TNCs. But essentially, you need to be an active player. That's the most important thing. Gary, what are we going to do on this one?
Let's do a tough one here, Brent. Let's go first try scorer and the time that he scores it, and only give 3 minutes. But let's give 1,000 Rand for this one.
Okay, first try scorer, time of first try. So you want the name of the try scorer or the team, Gary? The name.
No, name of the try scorer. We're going to make this a tough one. We're going to get easier as we go on.
Okay, so the name of the first try scorer and the time of the try within 3 minutes, and that's for a 1,000 Rand betting voucher. So the guys can come in on that one. And in the meantime, while they're coming in there, I'm going to bring up the next game, Gary, which is on Saturday morning early. Sorry?
That's the only game tomorrow. Then we kick off nice and early, I think. We could go very early on Saturday morning. I've got a feeling that the Sharks kick off proceedings on Saturday.
Yeah, the Rebels against the Sharks. I've never heard of the ground. I believe it's an AFL ground. So, and this game, I think Gary's had quite a bit of betting movement in the week. If I'm not mistaken, the Rebels you guys might even have priced them up as favourites at the start. I'm trying to remember now. I know I made it a sort of a choice game, and the money seems to have come for the Sharks here.
Yeah, and the more you look at the Sharks side, especially the back line, you can understand why. Yes, I know that Am's not playing, but I mean, that doesn't matter. They got a really strong back line. They got 1 or 2 forwards coming back into the side. You know, I think the Sharks will make a and yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, Oracle agreeing with you there.
Thank you. And I think that you'll see another good performance from the Sharks. Can they beat 4 or 5 points? I don't know about that. I think it's a pick'em game, you know. I still believe it's a pick'em game. I believe so on Sunday, and I believe so now, you know. It's one of those games where, you know what I mean, a yellow card here or there could make all the difference, Brent. And so, I mean, that's what we're going to bet on. You know, we're going to bet on the side that gets the first yellow card. And when it comes, we'll do this one for 750 Rand, and we'll give the guys 4 minutes on that one.
First yellow card and within 4 minutes. Now, just to give you Gary's form, the last 3 weeks he's picked a yellow card game. There's been no yellow cards. Just to mention to Peter, if he's watching, and he is watching because I see he's just made a live comment there. Peter did send me an email and say he was on the correct one last week. So I will check last week's show. It was an admin error on my part. And Peter, I'll get that sorted out for you. But first yellow card in this game and what time it's going to be. How many minutes did you say? We'll give the guys 4 minutes, Gary.
$150 for 4 minutes, Brent.
750 Rand. So we want to know the time of the first yellow card in the Rebels against the Sharks. If anything, I am leaning towards the Sharks here, Gary, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the boys say on the rugby show. We got a full panel tonight, and I think there's going to be lots of excitement. It's amazing how excited we get for the weekends when there's some betting to be done.
No, truth be told, think how fantastic Super Rugby is, right? Let me put it in perspective. It carries on every single year, right, for 4 or 5 months, right, Brent? We look forward to it before it starts. We get miserable when it's finished, and we're hell of a happy when it's going on, right? If you compare that to our wives, I mean, Super Rugby is so much better, right? I mean, after 6 months, right, the wives were worth shit, you know what I'm saying, Brent? Now we've got this that happens every year. It's fantastic, you know what I'm saying? Super Rugby or a wife, I promise you there's not a person watching this show that would choose their wife first. And if you are, shame on you, and you should go watch Married to Something on TV, the real wives of Atlanta, you know what I mean? Super Rugby beats wives, that's for sure, you know? So, yeah, that Sharks game, I'd really like to hear what the guys have got to say about it, because to me, it's a real tick'em game. I see Henrik hasn't said anything, which obviously means he's not watching, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen Henrik. He hasn't come in on entry yet. I know he is on my 9 o'clock show, so he may also have a few engagements, and he'll probably pop on towards the end. But interesting to see. I've got a feeling Henrik is on the Sharks. I know there was lots of discussion when the Rebels team came out. There was a big movement in favour of the Sharks. But then the Sharks team was named, and I think Um's not playing at centre. And I think the line almost readjusted at that point.
Um's the only one that they're missing. They've got a couple of other players back. I actually think it's a good side. I think it's a very good side that they're fielding tomorrow. I must be honest, I am, if you force me into a bet, I would definitely side with the Sharks. You know what I'm saying, Brent? I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure that I'll be flying into -4.5 and -5.5. I'll be much more comfortable at the sort of 6-10, 7-10 outright if we could find that, you know. But it's an interesting game. It's definitely an interesting game.
Excellent. Well, let's get on to the next game then. And it's the Chiefs, and they're 7-10, so the money's come for the handicap. They're Chiefs -14.5, Brumbies +14.5. I mean, Brumbies let me down last week, Gary. They were my best bet in the Good for the Game newsletter, which comes out on a Friday, -4.5. They managed to get ahead by 6 points, I think, with about 4 minutes to go. I was watching water polo and just keeping an eye on my phone. And then I looked down, and sure, I just saw guys complaining and moaning about the Brumbies, and I realized they conceded a try. But they've got it all to do to go to New Zealand and get anything from this Chiefs side.
No, 100%. And where are we watching the water polo? At Bishop's?
No comment.
But no, the thing is that, you know, again, I just think that when I look at that, I think that we shy at GG. You know what I'm saying, Brent? I really do. You know, it's a powerful Chiefs side that they got coming out there tomorrow. They got a back three that can score points from anywhere on the field, right? That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a really good Chiefs side that's going to run out on the park on Saturday. I think we shy by 2 or 3 points. I don't think that the 7-10 is that much of a deterrent. I disagree with Dave on this. I think the Chiefs will win, and I think they'll beat the spread, and I think they'll beat it fairly comfortably. That's my thing. I mean, I just think that the Brumbies, what have they shown us this year? Yes, okay, you backed them. I don't want to criticize that you backed them last week. I mean, you know, but what have they shown us that warrants that they should even keep this Chiefs side to 25? I don't know, Brent. I don't like the Brumbies.
Well,
I like the man.
Yeah, it seems the only attacking weapon is actually the rolling maul. And yes, the reason I was on them last week was less because of them and more because I didn't rate the Highlanders side. So I thought they would probably overpower the Highlanders up front. So this one, I'm firmly with you here, Gary. I think Chiefs minus 14.5. My money's not down yet, but that's certainly where I'll be going on this game. I'll also be looking for probably something like a Chiefs overs points play or something along those lines.
Definitely. I mean, to me, I think that it's just we too shy on this game, you know. So let's give away 500 here and just go with your prediction of how much the Chiefs win by. And I don't think we can give it. We can't give it into point because it's going to be pretty much covered, I would imagine, Brent?
Yes,
You've got to get it on, you know what I'm saying? You have to
on
get
the
it
nose, how many points? Well, you obviously can call the Brumbies to win as well, but it will assume most of you are going to go, so say Chiefs by 12 or something.
Yeah. What I'll do with if the Brumbies win, everybody that has a bet on this market will go into a lucky draw to win 1,000. We'll win a 2,000 rand free bet. So you don't have to go for the Brumbies. If it's a draw or the Brumbies win, we'll give away a 2,000 rand free bet in a draw to all the people that participate in this bet in this free competition.
In this competition, okay, that's a great one. So yeah, if you do see your chief bet well out, well, you can start cheering for the Brumbies there. Guys are coming in. I can tell you, Ruan Farid Chiefs by 6, Emil by 16, Oracle Rugby Chiefs by 33. So we got some pretty big ones coming in here. A lot of the guys in the 20s. So it's going to be interesting. I suspect, Gary, that this will be one though. We're going to get someone hitting it on the head, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be surprised if they don't. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Definitely.
Right, let's move on to the next game. It's the Reds up against the Sunwolves. The Reds they were well ahead. I didn't watch the game last week against the Hagioris. They were well ahead, but they lost on the road. And they're now coming. They're now playing at home. I think it's their first home game of the season, and they play against the Sunwolves, who have got that knack of just causing upsets and surprising. Can they beat the Reds? 14.5 points is the line.
No, I got a feeling the Reds are going to. I don't think the Reds are the worst side in the competition, Brent. I really don't. I do think the Sunwolves are. I think that the Reds, as the tournament goes on, I think, you know what I mean, may have one or two decent matches, and I think this might be one of them, you know. They've had a lot of travelling and everything, but I think that's not a bad market, you know what I'm saying? 14.5. That's pretty good, I think. I know the money's come for the plus on that one. I'm not convinced, you know what I mean? We never know what the Sunwolves are going to dish out, you know what I'm saying? They just don't do the same thing 2 weeks in a row. So for me, I'm going to stay out of that game completely. Absolutely stay out of that game. Not interested for me.
Yeah, I'm actually in the Reds camp there. I see the money's come for the Sunwolves, but like you, I actually rate this Reds team quite a bit, and I quite fancy their pack as well. I think they're going to get on top of the Sunwolves in the scrums, and I think if I look at how they performed against the Lions, for example, I think they got every chance of running away with this game at some stage. Just a reminder to all the guys watching that we do have the Handicap Rugby Chat that matters. That's just after the show, live at 9 o'clock. Gary, we better do a comp on that game before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, so let's go this way. First try scorer for each team, no try scores, no try counts as well, Brent. First try scorer for each team. You get them both right. Obviously, if there's a tie, we split. You get them both right, you get 2,000. If you get one right, you get 500.
Brilliant. Okay, so we want the first try scorer from each team, and that is in the Reds Sunwolves game. I can imagine the guys scrambling to the team list of the Sunwolves there because I've got a feeling.
You're welcome to use numbers. You know what I'm saying? If you
yes, okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, if you think the Sunwolves 13 or whatever, then just put the number. That'll make it a bit easier for the boys, definitely. Okay, moving on to the next game then, Gary. Not sure if I got the order right, if this is before the Stormers game, but Bulls up against the Blues. This is an interesting one. Basically a choice game, the way the betting's looking here. Bulls even money, 25-1 the draw, and 17-20 the Blues. I've got a sneaky little bet I fancy, but I'm going to get your comment on it first.
Well, I think this is a game that the Bulls have to win, right? I mean, not because they're going to be a factor in the tournament at all, but if they want to keep sort of the franchise flag flying anywhere this season, they have to win these type of games now, you know. They're giving away a lot of start all around the place, and I just think that they're a crap side. And I just think that the Blues, another side I don't trust. I really don't. I mean, if you said to me, have a bet, I swear to you, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd rather just take 50,000 to 2,000 the draw and hope that somehow they cancel each other out. I think they will cancel each other out. I really do, Brent. But at the end of the day, I think that the travelling and the altitude, and we'll get to the Blues, and I'm going to say, if you force me to have a bet, I'm going to back the Bulls.
Yeah, me too. In fact, the bet I like is the half-time, full-time market here, and I've seen prices range from about 6-1 to 8-1. The Blues to lead and the Bulls to come back as the sort of altitude sets in. I like that one, and I was, it's one of those things I remember. Certainly, you can't really compare this Bull side maybe to some of the sides that have come before them, but the Bulls had a habit of starting slowly at Loftus and then finding their rhythm and just sort of running up the victory. So that would be my speculative play for this game: the halftime, full-time Blues Bulls.
I like that a lot. I think that's a smart tip. That's a very good tip, Brent. And then I think on this one, let's go. Once I got Morné Steyn or there, I don't even know if he's playing. I haven't seen the team yet. I assume that he is. Let's go with your kicking meters bet. I love that one, Brent.
Yeah, that's it. Should we just say, because there is match kicking meters, but let's go Bulls kicking meters, because then you can particularly watch Steyn. And what I'll say to the guys is a bit of a clue here. I mean, the guys who've been following it, at altitude, the ball does fly a little bit further. So, yeah, have a go at that. We want to know what the Blue Bulls kicking meters is. That's successful kicks for posts, including drop goals, the total number of meters, and I'll get the official result off the SpreadX website there. So that's on the Bulls Blues game kicking meters for the Bulls. And that brings us, in fact, 500 for that one, Gary.
5 meters enough, Brent?
Sorry, I think we must give them within 10 on this one, because it'll be a wide fluctuation.
Okay, 10 meters is fine.
10 meters, because this one could go very wide. While the guys are getting their picks in, okay, so I got the order of the games mixed up. In fact, that is the last game, but the game I've missed is the Stormers up against the Haggiaris. The Stormers, well, Gary, how about that game at Ellis Park last week? They just burgled that game at the end, didn't they?
Great game. I mean, I don't know how they went to sleep for 20 minutes leading up to the winning try, But just to move a week ahead, I think that it sets the theme for a very, very tough travel for 4 weeks for the Lions now, Brent. They packed their bags. They're on their way to Australasia. They've got 2 Australian sides followed by 2 New Zealand sides. I think that they're going to run into a lot of drama overseas, this Lions side. If they just held on there and got a little bit of confidence, I think that would have helped them a hell of a lot. But I think they're going to get hammered from the minute they start next week until the minute they come home. But anyway, that we can discuss next week. This game, I'm pretty bullish on the Stormers for exactly the opposite. I think that try is going to give them a hell of a lot of confidence, Brent. I think that, they looked like they were dead and buried. They looked like they'd run out of puff, and they came back to really, burgle the game in injury time. And, they're a good side. I mean, they are missing some of their stars. We harp on that every week, but they are a good side. There's no doubt about it. And there's no doubt about the fact that, the coach Dobson trying to take a little bit of the spotlight off how good they are and everything. The Jaguares, I think, have made the best. They've got more people not starting this week than started last week, if that makes sense. Brent, they made more changes and positions than players that they've kept. So one would assume that, they've got a few combinations that are going to have to work their way up, work themselves out and everything. I must admit, I'm very bullish on the Stormers. I think that they'll win this game by more than this. I think they'll win the game by more than 13 points. To me, that's my punt of the weekend.
Yeah, I also like the Stormers here quite a bit. I'm looking forward to seeing what the other guys think on the show there. So that just leads us from a Super Rugby point of view to do a competition on this game, Gary.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't done a shirt number, so we've got to do a shirt number, Brent. Shirt numbers, what we're going to give them, 4 points for 500 Rand?
Yes, 500 Rand. Let's give them 5. Let's give them 5, Gary.
Now, let Oracle choose, right? He's got to put it up here now, right? They can either do 500 Rand and 5 points, or they can do it for 1,500 Rand and have to get it on the number. Come, Oracle, you tell us which way you want them to do it.
Let Oracle will give him a bit of a time to come with that because of the time gap. But so, Oracle, we want to know, do you want 5 points to play with and a 500 voucher, or do you want 1,500 Rand on the nose? And we're talking match shirt numbers here, Gary, so combined teams. Combined teams, yeah. Excellent. Let's see what...
We choose Oracle and he got knocked over by a bus. Okay, we're going to give Oracle 20 seconds, and then if Oracle can't do it, we'll I don't know. Should we let Emil choose?
Well, let's see what else. But there will be, I've noticed, there's normally a delay of 25, 30 seconds from everyone sees it at the same time, fortunately, but the comments do come through a little bit later. So we'll wait for those to come in. But Gary, what else this weekend then? I mean, any big horse racing, any big football?
mistakes. But again, I think that the Cape Derby's lost a little bit of its luster. So we won't harp too much on the racing here. There's English Premier League. There are a couple of good games there. I think there's a very good game. I think Chelsea at home to Spurs. Both sides have blow hot and cold all the time, so you never know where they're going. Then obviously there's Six Nations as well, Brent, which I'm sure you'll go through on your show later. The one that's coming up at 9 o'clock. Again, there's a very good game. 505. Okay, no problem at all. That's next week. We're going to let somebody with a bit of berries choose that one for us. All right, Brent. Somebody's got a little bit. I hope you can come with that one. I think we'll go for let Peter choose that one next week. We'll do the same thing. You can have 5 points for 500 or the exact number for 1,500. We'll maybe even make it more enticing. We'll make it like 300 for 6 numbers or 3,000 on the number. So we'll do that next week. But France got to Wales, and it's a reasonable French side. Brent, we've said so before. You know what I'm saying? You know what's going to happen? You know how much shit Oracle's going to be next week, right? When somebody hits it on the number.
Oh, and they don't get the 1,500.
Right? That's it. We're going to put your number on the show, Oracle. We're going to. I would. If it's 28, I'd be so excited. I swear to you, if it's 28, I'm going to run around the block with no clothes on. I'd love it so much. Yeah, so, you know what I mean? It is a good French side playing against a Welsh side that we're not sure about. You know what I'm saying? We got to still see what they can come up with, the new look side. It's going to be a good game. And then obviously must be England-Ireland. Am I correct?
Yeah, England-Ireland. I think I haven't had a good look at the Six Nations, but I can tell you, I think France are going to win, Gary. I like France on the board. I think they're about 19 to 10, 2-1. And I do fancy the French, and I've seen a lot of other guys fancy them. I think they're going to put Wales away.
If they do, I mean, you can get plus 7.5, I think. I mean, that is huge. I think France should be favourites for this game. I really, really believe that. That's probably my best bet of the weekend is France. But yeah, there's England and Ireland are playing. I think Scotland go over to Italy. You don't want to watch that. You can take a sleeping pill for the same price. Actually, probably a little bit less. But there's such great other rugby as well, Brent. We've got the Super Rugby, like we've gone through every game. It really is so exciting. You know what I mean? We've got the cricket to kick the weekend off as well tomorrow night. Officially, the weekend starts, you know what I mean, with the cricket, not with the rugby in the morning. Some people got to work afterwards. And then, yeah, a full program of soccer. There's a world title fight, which we're betting on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fight. 9 to 10 a pair. I mean, they both got big jaws and they both, you know what I mean, they're big units. I mean, especially Tyson Fury is a massive, massive man. He thinks he should have won that fight after nearly getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder last time. It's going to be a cracker. 9 to 10 a pair. You can pick which one you like. In my opinion, I think Wilder will knock him out this time. I really do. Right. I think Wilder's a little bit slimmer than him and everything, but he's got a massive, massive punch, and I think he'll knock him out this time. I think somebody needs to knock out Tyson Fury. He's a great character and everything, but he does need a hiding. But if he does win, whoever wins, it leads up to a great title fight with Anthony Joshua, doesn't it? A great unification fight with Anthony Joshua. Then they got Usyk, you know what I mean, who's probably the best cruiserweight of all time, waiting in the wing to make his statement in the heavyweight. Heavyweight boxing is in a very healthy place, and these are great, great fights on Saturday night, Sunday morning. Definitely, I'll be getting up for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I won't miss that one. You know, it's very seldom these days. I used to get up to watch a lot of boxing in the early hours, and I don't often get up, but I'll make sure I'm up for this one. I mean, one thing about getting up for the fight, you often don't have to get up as early as you think you do. Often you get up at 4 o'clock and there's all the pre-fights, and you end up the fight starts at 6:30.
But if you go to Sky Sport, Brent, they often say that they expect their walking to start at this time.
Yes.
You know, next week we're going to choose what we're going to do with some of the bets I mentioned you earlier. But yeah, so on Sky Sport, they often say that the walk-in starts at this time, and that's the time to get up. When Conor McGregor fought last time, I set my alarm clock. It woke me up. It was, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 in the morning. I pushed snooze for 9 minutes because my snooze is set at 9 minutes. I got up, I put water on my face, I switched on the TV set, and the fight was over. So, you know what I mean? Don't be an idiot like I am. You know what I mean? Just see what time the walk-in is and go and watch. It's going to be a great fight. I promise you, it's going to be a great fight, whatever happens. 2 big heavyweights always is. And that's what this weekend coming is going to be, Brent. Another great weekend of sport. We are blessed. We are hell of a lucky.
No, it's going to be great. I must just mention to you, Oracle's changed his shirts prediction to 27. So if it's lands on 28, And the reason he did that was Ruan Fourie actually picked 28 as well. So the two of them were both. So he said, no, he's going for 27. So I thought I'll mention in case you go running around the room when 28 arrives.
Yeah. But look, I mean, these things it all leads to fun. I mean, it really is. I mean, this show is a lot of fun. I hope the guys enjoy watching it as much as you and I do enjoy preparing it and doing the show, Brent? I mean, it's a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, it's great. And I can't wait till next Thursday. We bring in on a guest, I think, with us. I won't mention who it is. I mean, but we will have somebody. We'll make it a trifecta next week. And we're all ready to roll. We start off tomorrow morning with the Crusaders, move into the cricket, lots of rugby on Saturday. That is going to be a good weekend. Who needs women?
No, what an absolute pleasure. Guys, thanks very much to all the guys who did join us in the live chat. Look forward to going through all your entries and see if we can read. I think Peter's just telling us the fight should start at around about 6:30, 6:45, so that's good. The guys, I mean, I must say, I haven't seen a boxing bout like this in a little while that's just generated the sort of interest this has. Even, we don't normally have boxing threads on the Good for the Game forum, but we do. So really, really looking forward to it. And we won't be missing that one for all the money in the world. Gary, it's been great having you on the show. Look forward to next week. Look forward to having our guest in and also the Pick Six.
That's great, Brent. I think I'm going to just give you one more challenge, right? We know who our guest is next week. In 2 weeks' time, your challenge is to find a really attractive, smart, knowledgeable lady to join us on the show. Okay. Knowledgeable about sports betting or just sports? No, sports. Sports is good enough. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Right. I look forward to searching the internet for it. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, good luck. I mean, no, it will be nice. Let's get one on there. We'll run a lot of competitions and everything. And maybe she's really smart and we can get her to become a regular. I know we've got a big budget for that, but let's see where we go. Excellent. Gary, thanks very much. Thanks to all the boys in the live chat. We'll see you next week, Gary. See you next week. Great punting. Excellent, guys. We'll see you in about 8 minutes for the handicap rugby chat that matters. It's been great having Gary on the show. Good luck to all of you guys in the comps. And look out Monday on the Good for the Game forum. We will come out with something pretty big. Have a look at it. There'll be a various levels. So, it's not going to be easy to win the big prize, but there's going to be plenty of prizes in between as well. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a few minutes for the handicap rugby chat that matters.